Oh man.
You know what's also like a really insane play with that deck? Starting
What's
the
that?
podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Runeterrable Radio. I think it's episode number 31. I don't know. Maybe it's episode
We don't know
100.
the episode number.
Might be an episode 100. I don't know. I am your host, Blevins. With me, as always, is Saucy Mailman. What's up, buddy?
What's going on? I can't believe we're 104 episodes deep of this podcast.
Yeah, I didn't think we would make it to episode 1,000, but here we are.
Yeah, but it's weird Runeterra's been around that long.
Yeah, we've done one episode a week for the last 1,000 weeks, and apparently that's how long Runeterra has been out. That's what
a long time.
A long time. I'm not gonna do the NA
Nope.
NA pod. You think caster math
Someone in
is bad?
chat will.
Podcaster math is even worse. But what I'm also bad at is introducing our guests on time. We've got Team IQ competitive LoR player and former, still technically MTG Grand Prix champion, Nolagold. What's up, buddy?
Nothing much. I'm really excited that y'all invited me for y'all's episode to commemorate your 1,000th episode.
You know what? We'll bring you back for the actual episode 1,000. And let's see, how old were we? I'm not doing the math.
No math. We've outlawed math already. No math.
Yes, no math whatsoever. But Nola, super glad to have you on. I mean, you've been a sort of a pillar in the competitive community. Just been a grinder for LOR tournaments. Obviously, I've casted you a number of times. You've been in a lot of the different weekly tournaments. You're in Giant Slayer Fight Night, all that stuff. So want to learn a little bit more about you. And then after that, we'll be talking about some of the events that are going on. The Twitch Rivals event we'll quickly go over. And then we'll be going over the patch notes, which came out this week, patch 1.5. But let's learn a little bit more about our guest, Nolagold. I always like to start off at the beginning. What got you into gaming originally?
Oh man. Well, I'm 32 years old, so it started a long time ago. And if I take you back to second grade, I was in a foster home, and one of my cousins was in high school playing Magic the Gathering, the new hot trading card game, and he needed somebody to play with. And so he taught me how to play. I was in second grade, didn't really know what I was doing, and I learned how to play. And then whenever, like around 5th edition and that, which is roughly 95 or whatever, I started playing more and collecting. Didn't know what to do, just casual. And then right around 7th or 8th grade, I moved in with my grandma, and I'm from New Orleans. To give you a little context, I'm from down south, and my grandma, she is, south, very conservative, and magic cards are the devil. So she burned all my magic cards. I'll never forget, I was at my mom. She bought me a booster box for Christmas, and me and my friends opened the packs before Christmas because it was Friday Night Magic, and then put basic lands back in the packs and taped them up so that I could open them on Christmas, because we needed to build a deck for Friday Night Magic.
Yeah.
And then, sure enough, the day before Christmas, my grandma showed up at the house, and she just took the whole box and went and burned them, and they were all basic lands, so we were laughing. But anyway, I moved in with her, so she, I couldn't play any card games over there. And then I ran into Yu-Gi-Oh! In middle school, and that was like the craze for a little while. And I remember I brought home a summoned skull. She found it in my room, and she was like, "No, this like the devil." And I was like, "Shit." So then finally, I
True,
hit high
though.
school and moved back in with my mom. And then I ran into this dude at school, and he was talking shit about how, he'll whoop me in Magic. And I said, yeah, right. And then we became best friends and started playing all the competitive scene, traveling to Texas. And back then there wasn't a very big competitive scene. There was like the Pro Tour and established stuff. But as far as like on demand, go to a academy, it didn't exist. I mean, we drove 12 hours to play a Grand Prix trial where you could win a box maybe. And like, that's how like hungry we were for the competition.
Yep.
And since then it's been like, that's all I've been doing is playing and trying to win. And I've found some success in the game. A lot of top finishes. I won a Grand Prix. I started hitting it really hard about 3 years ago. My law firm that I was working for kind of got absorbed, and I was like the manager. So I basically took that time to be like, well, I had been streaming for a couple years. I'll give it a run, and I traveled all the world every 2 weeks, went to the big events, grinded the Grand Prix, and ended up getting a couple trophies. And that was great. Started a coaching group. Joined a coaching group and did that for the last 3 years. My last coaching session was 2 weeks ago for Magic, because I found this lovely game where I found you guys, Legends Runeterra. But I've played all the card games. If you name it, I've played it. The Eternal, I played full collections, Hidden Legend, or whatever you want to call it, Hearthstone Legend, Masters, whatever, top of the ladder on just about every game. Duelist, that was a fun one.
Duelist was cool.
Like, all these great games, played them all, and the support for competitive scene just wasn't attainable, I think, in like Hearthstone. Like, it was just confusing, and I understood the Magic system, so I think that was the reason why I just stuck with it, as well as being in it forever. But in the past couple of few years, organized play has just been shuffled around, and the goalposts are just undiscernible. So
it makes no sense.
No, I have no idea what's going on anymore.
Yeah, why would you take something so basic and so like recognizable and easy like the Pro Tour and call it something else? Like, we're gonna change it to a Mythic Championship. Okay, is that more or less than a Grand Prix? Oh, well, we changed the name of Grand Prix.
Yeah, we were getting rid of those as well.
Those are called Magic Fests. Okay, so is a Mythic Championship higher or lower than a Magic Fest?
All right, pay your dues. Let's go.
It's like,
let's go to the Magic.
Oh boy, yeah, that's
and so I just wound up here pretty much from there, because Magic just lost their minds, I think, and design and everything. It's confusing as hell. Even the people at the top, they don't know what's going on. So uncertainty. And I think this game being backed by Riot kind of drew me into it. I used to play a little League, obviously just Volibear top, and that's it. But
you only need to know one thing.
It's fun. That's it. And that was fun. But I figured I like the competitive sports atmosphere that Riot produces, and being a card game, and I've played all the card games, I just decided to jump all in on the Legends. And I haven't been disappointed with the community tournaments or the game, really.
Yeah, I'm wondering, because I mean, both or all of us really have at various levels made the jump from Magic to something, and it's like now I definitely can see it, because Magic is completely, or Magic organized play, like you said, is just completely wacky land. Who know? I have no idea what's going on with it, and I don't know if anyone likes it, but it's not an easy thing to do, right? When you've played a game for 10, 15, 20 years now, it's not always easy making that jump from that, and especially when it's a paper card game where you've made some of your lifelong friends, you've got thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars invested in these cards and whatnot. How was that jump over into LOR? Because I obviously started a podcast and am super into LOR and super happy with it now, but how was that jump into essentially fully into LOR?
Well, at first it was a jump that I didn't think I could make, honestly. Like you said, tying up the investment of the cards, like I'm most known for being the Legacy Lands expert, which plays a card which has been as high as $3,000, and everybody plays one. I like to play two. I picked them up for like $250 a long time ago, which I thought was outrageous.
Tabernacle.
And it's actually an emote on my stream, the Tabernacle. It's great.
Yep.
And the biggest part for me is you, and I'm sure Saucy. Magic is basically not. It's Magic the Gathering. Let's just call it what it is, because without the Gathering, Magic really just doesn't stand on its own.
Yeah.
And I've met some of my closest friends, and I've seen all around the world playing this game. I went to Brazil, I've been Spain, I've been to London, all over the place, and I've met people that friendships that I would have never found. I don't think in a day-to-day world doing anything else. So for that part, I do miss that, and as a streamer, I've lost some of my viewership that only tune in for the Magic, and I miss some of them people, and they come back around, and it's like, man, all the good times we had together. But once you get past that, especially with the COVID deal shutting down all the Magic tournaments, you come over to LOR, and then you literally spend $20 on the game and have a full collection.
Yep.
You're like, wait a minute. Wait a minute now. Hold up.
No,
Wait, I haven't even gotten a play set of lands.
Yeah,
there's another way this can work.
One of my Magic buddies, he was like, "Yeah, I want to check out Legend of Runeterra, but like, how many hundreds of dollars is it going to cost me?" I'm like, "Play the game for a couple weeks and drop $20, and you got everything."
Yeah.
He's like, "Wait, what?" I'm like, "Literally, like it." It's not the same, and we're all conditioned from Magic. Like, I need to spend $5,000 before this weekend so I can play the deck I want to play.
Feel exploited. Like, if I wasn't as good at the game or as well connected as I was, I just definitely could not have played Legacy for sure. And most Magic, keeping up with standard formats and new stuff. And I mean, I come from humble means, so there's no way it would have been possible. And that's kind of what brings the group together in a way, weirdly, is that it's so expensive that you really have to rely on other people to make it work and network with people. And so maybe that promoted that. But I mean, at the end of the day, after switching to LOR, I feel like I've been exploited for a long time, even though I beat the system as best as I could.
Yeah. I mean, I literally lived above a Magic store for 3 years and was roommates with the owners of the store. So like we were as connected as you could be, like had all the standard decks. Like we would just be when you have that group, you borrow cards and whatnot. And like, not even as much that it's also the, like, you not only have to know a bunch of people and have access to all these cards and spend thousands of dollars, not only that, but also you have to like manage essentially your fund of cards like a fucking stockbroker.
Like a stock portfolio,
and also the market isn't regulated by anything except for Wizards of the Coast, who's like, oh yeah, by the way, Treasure Cruise is banned, so all those foil ones that you have been picking up for $20, they're now worth 85 cents. Fuck you. It's so like,
or reprints,
reprints. The Treasure Cruise and Dig Through Time was the big thing for me, because I like went ham on those. I'm like, oh, they're standard cards. They're not going to ban. This isn't Skull Clamp. They're not going to ban these. This isn't Jace the Mind Sculptor. This isn't Artifact Lands. They're not going to ban these. Oh, whoops. I literally bought Jace the Mind Sculptors the week before they got announced banned. I was pissed.
No.
Granted, those kept their value, but I can still complain about it. But yeah, that whole thing got me, and like the outside of the actual game itself of Magic is whatever, and I don't want to spend the whole show bashing it, because that's very easy to do and fun for what it's worth. But LOR,
that'll be episode 1007.
Yeah, 1007. Come back in 6 episodes and we'll do that. But moving on to like the competitive scene for LOR, because obviously, Nola, you're in like pretty much every tournament that there is, at least that I've seen, for the most part. All the weeklies, you've been in Fight Night, a lot of the invitationals. How has that experience been for you so far, maybe compared to Magic early on? And like, what are your expectations for competitive in general moving forward?
Okay. Well, generally, and like I touched on earlier, I've played all the different card games, and generally those games are community-run events. There's a lot of community-run events. Where in Magic you have like Star City Games and you have Wizards of the Coast putting on the tournaments. There are small local events you can go to in paper, but if you're playing online, it's all going to be through them. And I never did like community-based events before I started playing LoR because I got bad attention disorder, and if I got to pay attention to a Discord and then or before even Discord or some website and follow along there and report my results there. I mean, I've done it before, but it's just so tedious. And I was like, why can't this just be in client? And I thought that was going to be a big problem for a lot of people. And I know some other players that have expressed that same issue when it comes to third-party events. But once you start doing it, it's not that bad. It's actually not hard at all. Once you get used to it, it's just like anything. Yeah. And you can condition yourself. And so now I actually like that part of it because it's more small community-based. So I do like the community tournaments a lot. And as far as where I think they'll go for the competitive scene, they said that they announced for 1.6. Is that when the tournament's going to be? They have announced that they're going to have some kind of tournament, I think.
Yeah, there'll be a tournament. Yeah, I don't know the exact date, but at some point.
And so it'll be in client, I guess. And I know for Eternal they did it one way. But there's one thing I've learned from LoR is they're not scared of trying new things. So, and Riot is behind them, so it could be something wild. I don't know if it's going to be how it's going to be because I'm not that aware of the exact pro scene in their other games. Because I know TFT recently started their esports and qualifiers this year, and I haven't paid too much attention to it. So I would hope that it'll be in-client tournament, maybe something monthly, and then it can qualify you for something, or maybe a weekly deal that can qualify you for a monthly event. And that's just what I'm used to, but I'm open to anything. Just tell me what the format is with 2 weeks notice. I'm on it. And I don't complain. I'm a competitor, baby. That's what it is. I just want to sit down and win every single game. You tell me what the rules are. Make sure they got the same rules, and let's see what happens. I'm going to try and beat it as best I can. And I just take my entire competitive career has been just one game at a time and just trying to win every single game I play. And I do that on my stream. I do that. And I get real bad about it because whenever I stream, I don't pay attention to chat that well. And then they're like, well, man, I asked you a bunch of questions. And I'm like, I'll try to win every game.
I got to win. Sorry.
Than the last one. And so that competitive spirit that I have is pretty excited about whatever they bring. If it's no good, then, I'm sure you'll be talking about it on your podcast.
Yeah, for sure. I hope that we get I would love. So I hate to bring up this program because it's terrible. I just preface this, but Magic Online did, and I'm not, and for all the Zoomers in chat, I'm not talking about MTG Arena. I'm talking about the OG, developed in 1997 Magic Online. They did a lot of things horribly, and the program itself is terrible. But I think that they're the MOX tournaments, the Magic Online Championship Series, those were run super smoothly. You had a ton of different formats and whatnot that you would have feeder events essentially, and every time you would win an event, you'd get a QP or qualifier point. You needed to have 16. I don't remember what it was. You needed to have a certain number of qualifier points by the time the next tournament happened, and if you did, you could enter that big tournament for bigger prizes, and then that would be a big tournament throughout day twos or whatever. And I think if we took that sort of format, because it works better for online, because you could take the shell of that and run it like modern online game tournaments are in client, where it's Magic Arena, where it's you play 8 rounds and you need to win. You need to go 7-2 or whatever, or you need to win 7 rounds. Yeah, exactly. 8, 7, and 2. Exactly. Yep.
Equals 8.
Yep. You need to go 8 and 2 or whatever to get to day 2, and then you move on. It's not like an IRL Grand Prix where you have to you're playing against your opponent, and then you wait an hour in between the rounds while everything gets through, and then you move on, and then you can combine the good from the old and the good from the new and make something that's really cool, I think.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I like that structure, just being able to be, you can play at your own pace, which is cool. I saw that in the Eternal tournaments because day 2 to a few of their Worlds qualifiers, and the way they had it set up, you had 28 games they had you play, you had to be in the top 64, which I think you could get with 17 or 18 wins, depending on how many people entered in it. And that was kind of cool. You had all day to do it, all Friday and Saturday, I think, to play.
MTG Arena did that. Yeah, MTG Arena did that recently too with their win real money tournament, which was weird to me because I thought the reason they didn't do that is because it's against a bunch of gambling laws or whatever. But apparently they got it to work, where it's the event is running for 24 hours or whatever. You need to you enter for however many gems or money. You need to get 8 wins before you get 3 losses or whatever. And if you do, you get to day 2, etc. And I think that's it's a good way to do it. And then you can have, weekly events where you get qualifier points, or you can just have it be an open tournament. It doesn't matter. It's all I think there's something there, but
the accessibility is great. That's one thing I've loved about LoR. And just digital games in general is okay, we could just do this whatever time. That's got to be the best format.
Yeah. I mean, I would love it if, post-COVID, if we ever get to go to events in person again, I would love for there to be a big Grand Prix style event, IRL, or a DreamHack or something for LOR. I think that would be really cool too. But
yeah, it'd be super fun. I mean, all of those that we did for Hearthstone were super fun.
Yeah. Okay. Well, enough about LOR competitive. That's boring. Actually, JK, we're going to talk about another LOR competitive event that is coming up actually, I think next week. The LOR portion of it, at least. It is the Twitch Rivals Spirit Blossom event from Riot. So if you're unfamiliar with this, it's actually a 3-game event. It's
like a triathlon.
Yeah, it's like a triathlon. It's part Legends of Runeterra, part TFT, part League of Legends. And I believe the LOR portion is next week. And actually earlier today, as of this recording, which is on Wednesday, we got the teams actually picked. So they had 8 team captains, and they each picked from a pool of, I think there was a couple of hundred different streamers that they could have picked on their teams to try to make a team that can play sort of all 3 of these games. Yeah. So I'm really interested to see how this one comes out. The first note is, of course, it's not going to be the most high level LOR event. It's not really meant to be that. But the second note I will mention is that Casanova actually got picked for a team. So my casting partner, my casting duo, and also multi-time Runeterrable radio guest Casanova is on Trick 2G's team. He actually got picked in the first round. It was funny watching it live, because he was streaming it, and he was going to talk about, and I've been talking to him about it for the last week or so, since he knew he was in the running for it. And he's like, yeah, I'm probably not going to get picked, but I'm going to message a bunch of people and see what I can do. And it's funny because he's talking, he's like, okay, so here I would pick this person, and it's the first round, I think it was 6th pick, and Trick is just man, my first round pick got picked. Well, this guy has Hots in his name, so I'm gonna pick Casanova Hots. And Casa didn't even realize it because he was streaming it live. He was like, "Wait, did I just get picked?"
He's like, "Oh, okay, that's hilarious."
It is, and actually, apparently, one of our contacts that was in contact with Skara, who was one of the other captains, messaged her and was asking about Casa like literally seconds before he got picked. So there was multiple people going after him. But chomping at the bit for Casanova. So that'll be a fun event. Casa's in it. BBG, another LOR streamer. Swim was actually one of the captains, so another Runeterrable Radio guest. And then there's a couple other, I think. I'm trying to think who else there was. Oh, Hyped also got picked up. He's obviously a streamer and tournament player. And I think there was a couple other Dog who won the last Twitch Rivals, but he's not really an LOR player. But should be cool. I mean, and I'm not sure how competitive the LOR portion of this is going to be, but it should be a fun event.
I love the idea of it, though. It's pretty cool. Like, whoever put this together, I give them props because it's pretty sweet. Some people were like, "Oh, Sauce, you should do this." I'm like, I've literally never played a game. Like, I don't know how League of Legends work, and like, I haven't played TFT, and the last time was probably with you, Blevin. So like months ago. Yeah, yeah. But it's super cool. I love the idea of this.
Mm-hmm. Strife Crow is another TFT or LOR player that got picked up too.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Yeah, it seemed like the strategy from a lot of the captains was like, we're going to have a solid league team and hope that we can get one player that can teach everyone else how to play the other games.
Yeah.
So
makes sense.
Yeah, we'll talk about the results of at least the LOR portion. I don't know if it will be done by next episode, but whenever the following episode is, we'll talk about it. But
when the whole thing's over, after one of our friends wins, we'll have him on.
When Casa wins, we'll have him on.
Yeah, exactly. Easy.
Casa's a pickup for that tournament. It seems like
Casa actually is like no joke an actual good pickup because he obviously is a good LOR player. He's not like up to date with TFT, but he casted the Giant Slayer TFT Fight Nights for a whole year essentially.
Yeah.
And like will only take a little bit of time to get up to like the current meta.
Just figure out the meta.
And then he was literally a Heroes of the Storm professional player for an HGC team and was like a Diamond Master level league player. So like there are people there apparently Swim like randomly picked up someone who like just got cut from 100 Thieves. Like the the LCS team. Yeah, so like got an actual like sleeper pick, like insanely like hot off the presses, like just like people were complaining because they were saying he was a pro player, but he actually like just like terminated the contract with 100 Thieves like recently. So there's like amazing. There's some actual like super top level league players, but I mean compared to some others, I think Cass is probably a pretty good pick there.
It is a team sport, though.
Yeah, true.
So.
Yeah.
I know I would be. Some people were asking me too, and I'm like, no, I would be the worst pick for this. I'm like, I'm like passable at LOR. I'm passable at TFT, and I'm complete dog shit at League of Legends. So.
Yeah, I think the only games I've played were with you, Blevins, of League of Legends. We played like 3 games. I'm like, hey, I can Garen a couple people.
Yeah, against AI.
I'm like, I'm basically a #1 pro at this point because I played like 3 AI games as Garen. Let's do this. I can win.
I was saying that back when I first started playing was before Ranked came out, so technically that means I'm Challenger, right? Because I didn't. I played before Season 1.
It didn't exist.
It didn't exist. Therefore, must be Challenger. Okay, so we'll talk about that more as that progresses. But one thing we definitely want to talk about here is the patch notes for patch 1.5. They are out. They're here. If you're listening to this now, you can go play, and they are out. This patch has happened. So the first thing here, so they talk a little bit about balance in 1.5 and beyond. I think the big talking point for this section is everyone this week was talking about how there's an emergency patch and like, oh, they're going to do this emergency patch and how many people are predicting like how many things are going to be changed and like, oh, this is going to be a huge emergency
crazy
patch.
Predictions. Yeah.
Holy crap. People were like, oh, this emergency patch is going to fix everything. I'm like, I I think you folks may
They're removing Heimerdinger from the game.
I think maybe you're having a few too many expectations from this in-between patch.
You're going to say whiskeys. A few too many whiskeys.
Few too many whiskeys with your patch notes. So yeah, they are going to... Yeah, patch 1.5 contains a couple of balance changes that we originally slated for patch 1.6, so I guess that's technically like the emergency patch. As part of our normal monthly balance cadence, while we're not going to start making balance patches every patch, we saw an opportunity to quickly turn around a few key changes and get them in your hands in the process, blah, 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 blah. As we covered in the last thing, starting in August, we'll introduce new cards to LoR every 2 months, which means we also need to update how we think about the approach of balance over the life of the set. We're still considering how exactly we'll adjust, but look, blah, blah. Basically, they're still open to how they're going to change cards, and they mentioned that in the next patch, so patch 1.6, they are currently working on adjustments to some of Heimerdinger's associated cards, a la his bots, reworking discard units to increase their satisfaction and usability. I'm guessing that's like flame chompers, I think.
Some treasure.
Yeah. I think that's how what they're talking about. And then adjustments
Brash
to
Gambler?
Or just what?
Brash Gambler?
Oh, Brash Gambler.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't
I'm not. I mean, we'll see what they mean exactly.
I have an idea.
Yeah, discard units.
Ooh, what's your idea?
Yeah, what's the idea?
Remember when they changed Rummage to where you can do it with only one card? What if you can play those cards with no cards in hand if you have none?
That would be substantially better.
That would make the card super good, right?
Yeah.
But they
would more inclination to play them for sure, because like nothing's worse than drawing. You gotta play some treasure. You draw it.
Yeah, every time. That's always your top deck.
It's all about discarding cards.
Right.
So when you play those kind of decks, it always feels bad when you draw something like that. So maybe that might be a rework they might be doing.
Yeah.
I don't think it would be too overpowerful, but it would make them a lot more playable.
It would definitely make Brash Gambler much nicer of a card.
Yeah, that card would be nuts.
That card already, I think low key we might be sleeping on that card a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I seen Marvel with that casino deck, and I've played it and put a third one in it, and I was like, "Whoa, this card is good."
Yeah, I'm not sold on the whole deck, but I think that card might be. I remember I played that card. I'm like, why am I playing all this trash in here though? Like, it's like, oh, it gets discarded. It's like, yeah, but why don't I just play good cards instead of this trash? But it's another story.
No gamble, no future, man. Come on.
Yeah. Who wants to play good cards? And here's the big brain. So Blevins over here, he's got the small brain plays. You put shit cards in your deck for when they get nabbed. Big brain.
Oh, that is galaxy brain. Yeah, it's like
yep. So if you have garbage trash tier cards, they're just gonna take your hot garbage.
That's true. And when they take, oh wow, it's even bigger brain because then they take your cards that require you to discard. So it's kind of like you're playing your own discard spells.
Yeah, and they don't want to play those because like crap, I can't play this Brash Gambler. What the heck?
Unless you can now, if that's the change.
Do,
that's
then
happening.
You lose.
Yeah,
then you lose. So.
Interesting. And they're also doing adjustments to direct not a Nexus damage on cheap Noxus units. So the Demolitionist and Disciple, maybe the Wombo combo that's been going on there. So yeah, I think obviously Heimerdinger is a big piece of the meta right now, to say the least. So
yeah,
I think changing him is going to be the easiest thing, because it's like you don't want to have to like, well, this effect really makes sense at 3 mana, but also we have to factor in the fact that Heimerdinger is going to abuse it if it's a 3 mana spell. Like, you think about it, like right now, can they ever print a playable Ionia or PNZ 3 mana spell with Heimer? How he is right now? Like, you can't do another one, right? Like, it would just be too insane.
It does limit design space the way it's configured currently.
Yeah, so I wonder if I don't know. We'll see what they do, but I'm interested. So the other thing from this patch before the balance changes or the card updates is labs. So labs are in the game, and this week it is ARAM. So if you haven't played it yet, it is live right now, and you start the game, and it shows you 4 champions. You can essentially mulligan them like you would mulligan any cards. Those cards, those champions start in your deck, and there's notably, or they start in your hand. There's notably no region restriction, so you can have 4 different regions in your deck, and it will automatically make a deck for you with those cards. So, Saucy, have you gotten the chance to play it at all?
I haven't. No, it came out today, and I've been at work all day. I got home and jumped on the podcast, but I'm excited. This has been it's so the gauntlet mode is one thing that we have. A lot of people like it, a lot of people don't. I've been saying I want labs to just be a fun mode with no rewards, so that I don't have to hear people bitching about not getting their rewards from the game mode.
Oh my god,
we've had a lot of angry people like, I didn't get my 7 wins in Gauntlet, so Riot should burn in hell. We've been having like some angry people, but I'm excited for not even specifically this lab, but just labs in general. Because they said they're going to get a new one for each balance patch, correct? Or did I make that up?
I think this one currently is 2 weeks, so yeah.
Yeah, every patch after 1.5 will have a new updated lab. So just the idea of this fun, crazy mode that just breaks the rules of the game. They can just put things aside and do insane stuff. I love it. I think it's super cool. I'm excited to play it. I'll be playing this more than I should. So I'm ready for it. I love this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Nola, what about you? What do you think about the labs?
Well, I haven't got to try them yet, but I do like that they're going to have different formats every 2 weeks for them, and they can break the game in different ways. And I like how they're using it as kind of like a test for what they can add to the game in the future as well. And of course, just wild games is good because it can separate maybe some variants from the regular part of the game, and they can add it more for the people that could be maybe for them. Because I hope it doesn't become too Hearthstone, like game overall. But you can have a good element of that in a controlled space.
Yeah.
And I think one good thing about something like this is like for when you are grinding ladder, when you are playing seriously, preparing for a tournament, like when you're trying to hit high ranks, whatever. This gives you something that you can use to kind of cool off if you're on a losing streak, or if you're getting tilted. Like it's a way to keep people inside the client versus then just jumping out and playing something else. So I think it's kind of smart to have a more goofy, fun mode, even for if you are, a high-ranking competitive player.
Yeah, I think it's really good in that sense. I played it a little bit, and I think that this game mode is kind of fun. I think I got as much out of it as I want in the first 3 games that I played of it, because it just kind of felt like it felt I don't even know how to put it. I didn't really get too much out of it, I don't think. But I think the lab itself, or the concept of labs, is absolutely like there's been a lot of super innovative things that the LoR team has done, but I think this is a really good, like, hey, we can push the boundaries of something. Maybe they do a lab where you bring 3 decks and you play like a best of 3 or something like that, or best of 5, or you can ban, like maybe they do things like that, or maybe they, we talked about like maybe there's some sort of like EDH thing where you have a champion that is your commander. That would be kind of cool. I think it would be limited right now given the card pool, but I also think that if you did EDH with 1 set of cards, it would be pretty limited and not that fun either.
Yeah.
So I really like that they're able to push the boundaries. I think that I do agree with you, Saucy. Even just like going into your chat, the number of people who are like, oh, this gauntlets are so stupid because I didn't get 7 wins. It's like, well, dude, I got 7 wins on my alt with a deck on an account that has no cards. So
yeah,
I don't think it's the mode's fault, bro. Like,
And it was as I was like on my 7th game, so I'm like, this is an impossible game mode. No one can get 7 wins. I'm like, I literally just like I'm about to do that right now.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. People just like to complain, so I'm hoping this is something that people can't complain as much about. Because even if like you said, so you played your few games. If you're not playing it again, like it's just a free extra mode. Like I'm hoping you're not bitching about something that there's no incentive to play it. You don't have to play it. There's no rewards. It's just there if you want to.
Yeah.
Don't bitch about it. Like if you don't want to play it, sweet, don't play it.
Yeah. And you can get your, like, it counts towards your daily quests and whatnot. So like,
and you can play with friends.
You can play with friends?
Yes.
Okay, never mind. I'm in on this. Hold on.
Yep.
Lab tournament? What?
Yep. You can play with friends as well.
That's pretty sweet, actually. I did not realize that.
That is really sweet. Lab tournament? Question mark?
No. Absolutely.
Yeah, so when you go to what you do is when you go to challenge a friend, there's 2 choices that pop up: a standard match or a lab.
Ooh, that is actually sick. I think overall it's really good, and there's a couple of things at work here, because on the one hand, like, you generally don't want to like divide your player base. Like, you kind of want them to be playing, you want the majority of them probably playing ladder, and then like you have other games, like you don't want it to be like split and like for whatever reasons, but I don't think this is really going to split anything, because this is, like you said, it's not like a competitive mode, it's not like another ladder, it's not I don't even think it keeps track of how many times you win. I think it's just there for fun. It's just there to test out, like, hey, we can do a mode that's like even like a super like on the fly draft. Like, you think about Expedition as like a more in-depth thing. Like, they can do something like this and have it be like a draft. Maybe that's a format or something like
draft.
that.
You have 5 seconds to make your pick. Let's go.
Yeah. And I think it's really cool that they're doing this, and I'm excited to see what else they give us with the labs in the futures.
Yeah,
in the future.
It's pretty sweet.
Okay, so the meat and potatoes here, again, is not as much as I think people were expecting, but we got 2 cards changed, which for what it's worth is 2 more than we would normally get on a patch like this. But
yeah, exactly.
Pilfered Goods has gotten, air quotes, nerfed from 2 cost up to 3. I always had to put the air quotes when something becomes a 3-mana spell with Heimerdinger in the game, by the way. But overall, obviously, we've talked about Nab and Yoink, whatever you want to call it, ad nauseum on the show. But I'm curious, Nola, what do you think about this change specifically, and what do you think? Where do you stand on Nab in general?
Nab, I do like that they gave it a keyword, Nab. Stealing cards from your opponent's deck makes it really hard as a competitive act. Because one good thing that one skill that I've acquired is like being able to tell what's in my opponent's hand, eliminate possibilities, and it's really whenever they steal from you. You gotta account for your deck on top of it. It just doubles the effort there, and you can. It becomes very difficult, and it creates a lot of feel bad moments. Like I like to play a lot of kick-axe, and that deck Draven Lee Sin, getting in there with the Lee Sin, kicking them with the might, and most decks can't interact with it at all outside of a couple things, and you know what those things are. But your deck also plays Will of Ionia and Concussive Palm, so anytime you get stolen from, you just like worry that that they're gonna come get you, and that feels bad. But I don't think it's overpowered, and I do not think that this Pilfered Goods nerf, aka buff, is really an attack on the mechanic itself. It will see less play because it does cost less mana, but I think you just have to look at it from a card design perspective, and let's look at how hard it is to trigger Plunder. It is not, because the natural flow of the game, there's going to be damage, as well as the warning shot. So the one shot in the Yordle Grifter is too easy. You can just assume that by turn 5 it would have happened
right
at some point,
Yeah.
and not be inconvenient. So since the entry cost is not that high, the draw 2 doesn't really cost you anything. It's a 2 mana draw 2. We'll just call it that. And it is a random 2, but you can assume that if you're playing competitively, that your opponent's probably got the same thing, unless they're like really competitive and on the next level and have saucy skills and comes with shit tier.
Playing a bunch of trash
and awesome champs.
Yep.
Because you can't have that.
True.
And then we're looking at a 2 mana draw 2, and you compare that to other games and even just if you compare it to this game, you look at Glimpse. That's it's gonna cost you something to draw the 2 to Glimpse Beyond, and then any other kind of card draw. Deep Med, that one got moved up to 5, but is 3 sometimes, so it's more conditional. The Deep Meditation, I think, than the Plunderment. So 2 mana to draw 2 is with no condition is too much. So make it divination
burst speed
in Magic terms, 3 mana.
Yeah.
And it's just more fair, I think, especially when you can still pair it with cost reduction from Black Market Merchant. So 2 mana is just too much.
I
the advantage of the game is where you get the issues.
Yeah.
100%. I posted on Twitter my thoughts on NAB in general, and I think the Hearthstone card Trade Prince Gallywix actually encapsulates my thoughts of how I personally imagine the mechanic working, like in an ideal world. Like Trade Prince Gallywix, if you're unfamiliar, it's like I think a 6 mana legendary unit, which is kind of like a champion in Hearthstone if you're unfamiliar. And it has an ability where every time your opponent casts a spell, you steal a copy of that, or it creates a copy of that spell in your hand, and they get essentially a free mana coin, a free mana card. So it's like a super strong effect, right? Kind of like NAB is a pretty strong effect. I don't think it's not as strong as that, but it's a pretty strong effect. But Trade Prince Gallywix was not a broken card, I don't think, by any means. Now, granted, there's a lot of differences between Hearthstone and LoR. You can only run one copy of a legendary card in your deck, so there's that. So it's not directly apples to apples here.
Yeah.
But
just an example.
Yeah, but you've got a really strong effect that's on an expensive sort of legendary card, and that effect feels legendary. It feels unique. It feels kind of crazy, which I feel like NAB should be. Like, stealing cards from your opponent's deck feels like it should be a big, explosive, like legendary-ish type of effect. I don't think it should be like the Ancestral Recall, right? Like, like,
yeah.
So that's not what NAB is. So I'm not saying, completely rework, get rid of, change what Pilfered Goods does and put NAB on Riptide Rex, that type of thing. I'm not saying to do that, because that'd be too big of a change. But I do think that making Pilfered Goods 3 mana now is a small step in the right direction. Like, if we're not going to have NAB be in that sort of category, and it is going to be more of a Bilgewater, like, not evergreen ability, but like a more recurring or a thematic ability for Bilgewater, then let's start by not also having it be the best draw spell in the game. Like,
yeah, two mana for 2 cards at burst speed. Like, at split-second speed is insane.
I don't care where the cards are being drawn from. I will take
it's just card
draw
advantage. Yeah, it doesn't matter what it is. And like, I get into that argument all the time with people who they're like, oh, it's it's the fact that it's taken from their hand, or like their deck, and I'm like, no, even if it's just card advantage, I don't care what the cards are. Like, that's why even like Karma's Inside of Ages or whatever, like, it's just good because you're getting more cards.
Right.
Like, just getting more cards is good. So it's the card's insane. It's still good at 3 mana.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I say this every time there's any card changes, but I do like them, Riot's like balancing how they just make incremental smaller changes to cards rather than they just make it like 8 mana and say we're not going to see this card play. We're going to just grind it, into oblivion.
Yeah.
I like them just making smaller changes, especially a mid patch like this, because this isn't a balanced patch. Like this is a content bug fix patch. They just so happen to make 2 card changes. So for everyone like they should have nerfed more things. I'm like, this isn't the balance patch. That's the next one.
Yeah.
This is the emergency balance patch.
Yeah.
Yeah, the emergency fix everything balance patch. Which I don't know. Like, it was funny because so I knew about the patch like a little bit before. And people are like, I see people talking about it and they're like, oh man, this emergency patch is going to fix so many things. And I'm like, where did they say that they were going to do that? What makes you think that? I'm just curious, and no one ever gave me an answer. Like,
Reddit.
I saw it on a thing, and they said it, and it's gonna be an emergency patch. I'm like, okay.
I saw this streamer. He said he saw an article on Reddit from another streamer. He saw from someone he knows who works at Riot as a janitor.
Streamer said card was good. I won game 3 with card.
Yeah.
That
must
meme is
be
so
broken.
Good. That meme
is especially good paired with Mechanic X.
Yeah. That's why I'm here trying to do the opposite. I'm over here playing all this garbage bullshit. So when people come and like see the stuff I'm playing, like, oh my god, like this Jay Madara deck is nuts. Jay Madara must be good now.
Oof.
He's not.
Oh,
I wish he
Card
was.
is hot trash.
What is he? What is he? A 6 mana 4/4 now or something like that? Doesn't have elusive.
I don't know. He's just.
That's how I found the Saucy, man. Found Saucy unyielding the eggs, man. I mean,
unyielding kegs.
Dude, that's how I found Saucy. I was like, oh, I love it. I love the brew. Like, I'm a competitive player, but man, I love a brew. And I'm playing tier decks, and so I'm always looking in the corner, creative minds that just come up with some craziness, and then work it into a competitive meta.
Yep.
And then once tier 1, I jump on the next thing.
Yeah,
once it's too cool. I'm too hip for this. I'm running over this one.
It was funny.
It got my attention.
It was funny. So you played in the first week of Giant Slayer Fight Night, which Casanova and I essentially worked on the format for, and the format, without going into too much detail, the format was bring 2 decks, and then in the off chance that there was a bracket reset, instead of doing a full bracket reset, we had players would bring a 3rd secret deck and play a best of 1 with the secret deck that no one knew about. I still think that's kind of a cool idea, but we can just do a bracket reset. When we were talking about it after the tournament, I'm like, so did Nola bring Kick-Axe for a secret deck? Like, oh yeah, he did. I'm like, yes. I wanted to see. I'm like, I needed to see.
Oh man,
I needed to see the Kick-Axe. Oh yeah, you gotta have the Draven Lee Sin Kick-Axe. I love it.
Dude, I actually YouTube video today. I brought it back into the new meta, and it actually is quite good against the Bald Eagle deck. That's real popular. The mid-range Bald Eagle, and you just throw an extra deny in there for the Vengeance. That deck doesn't really pressure you. It gives you plenty of time to set up the old might kick you in the head.
I love it.
I think this is a really good time for Deny, by the way. I think Deny is a great choice of a card right now.
Deny is quite good. Yeah, where are all the people? What's that? Calling Strike.
Yeah,
ooh, Calling Strike's real good.
But now you just throw a couple in there. That card's great in this meta.
Kills Braum, kills Anivia Egg, kills Heimerdinger,
elusives.
kills all the elusives, kills Ezreal. Yeah. Works against
Not
aggro,
good against Draven,
True, not good against Draven. It's Draven time. I found out
unless
that
your opponent's bad.
True. I found out that the voice actor for Draven is the same voice actor for Jax, and also he's a big bearded Viking-looking dude. He's my new hero.
Don't tell everyone it's me.
Oh, sorry.
God.
Sorry.
It's a breach of contract.
Oh, yikes. We'll delete that. Okay, so we have one other change that happened as well. Actually, Pilfered Goods wasn't impacting the Pinky and the Brain, aka Vimer deck. Solitary Monk is now a 3/3 from a 4/3. So
yep.
again, I think, we didn't need to have Solitary Monk randomly be the best like card, and like when you think about it, I was thinking about this the other day, and I'm like, if you think of elusive as flying, which it is in Magic terms, it's like,
yeah,
Solitary Monk is a 3-mana Sarah Angel. And like Sarah Angel's not always but it like playable, isn't really playable and constructed these days, but like that was like the best card out there for a long time. So when you have a 3-mana Sarah Angel, that's at least like my alarms are going off a little bit. And like, it seems like every time Riot in LOR has come up with a downside, it's actually just turned into an upside with very little.
Oh yeah.
Very little need for deck building choices.
Just like the downside of Glimpse being, you have to kill one of your dudes.
Yeah.
That won't ever be a good thing. That won't stop all the Ezreal shots.
So I'll turn on my Rekindler and my Harrowing at all. I remember I was praying for a Glimpse in a game the other day, and I was like, man, if I could just draw me a Glimpse, if I could draw me a Vengeance, and if I could draw me a Ruination and kill my own thing.
Yep.
Yep.
So crazy. But overall, I mean, what do you think, Saucy, about the change to Solitary Monk? Is it enough? Are we going to still see, like, is Solitary Monk still going to be the powerhouse that it is?
The thing I like about this change is it makes it to where you don't just throw this in decks that have no reason playing it just because it is the best 3-drop. Like 3 mana, like you said, 3 mana 4/3 elusive is just insane. It makes you actually think like, are you actually playing things that want to have recall synergy more often? And that's how I feel about just any card. Any card that's an automatic include in every deck if you're in that region, I think it's too good.
Yep.
Or at least needs not necessarily that it needs to be changed, but just it's very strong. And this is a card that it can feel oppressive, especially it's so early for that aggressive of a card. Like you can lose to it so fast. And now Culling Strike kills it, so take that.
True. Nola, do you think that we're going to be seeing Solitary Monk in all the Ionia decks still?
No, I think Saucy pretty much hit it on the head right there. And I do think that this is a good example of how the dev team approaches changes, because this makes you just want to add a little bit more synergy instead of just throwing it in there. Or maybe the consideration to your deck build will be, let me add a couple more of this that wouldn't mind getting returned and paired. And it was just out and out the best 3-drop. I mean, I played it in every standalone Ionia deck I had played Nerf standalone, and it just wins a game by itself with Relentless Pursuit, and it's just so aggressive and so fast and sturdy. Like you said, it can get got by the Culling Strike. So I like that they make things, their nerfs make you have to think and be more creative in making it still have potential, because it still has potential. It's still good. It's still a good rate. But it's not going to be the auto include, and you're going to have to actually be creative, a little bit more creative in your deck builds, which I like as a brewer myself.
Yeah.
And, sweet.
One thing that is maybe deceptively massive about this change is 4-power elusive. That's a 5-turn clock on its own. 3-power, it's a 7-turn clock. So that's it's effectively 1 power is adding 2 turns that you need, if you were just gold fishing with the Solitary Monk. So certainly is not the threat it once was, for sure. I do like and I think it's probably a good just philosophical dev decision to make, is like, I think that they may have talked about it in the intro. I'm not going to go check because I'm too lazy. They want to sort of move away from like what you were saying, Saucy, of just having like, we've got generically good cards, so you need to put it in all of the decks. It's like when Chump Wump was a 4/4, it's like, you don't really care about puff caps, but also you just want a 4/4 for 4 that draws you, like, even if it's like 2 quarter cards, like you just want to play that no matter what.
Like Avaros and Hearthguard,
right?
5/6.
Right. Exactly. It's just like we can, taking away stats on a card like this. It's like, okay, now you want to be more thematic. Yes, it still has elusive. Yes, it has the same recall abilities, and it's still going to be good in your your Yasuo type deck. I know I said something is going to be good in a Yasuo deck. Eric Thomas is crying tears of joy right now. But it's not like, oh, well, my random Ionia deck that has no other elusives and doesn't and actually sees the recall all other allies as a downside is still jamming this because it's just so good. That they want to take away from the like what Hearthstone felt like in the first set, where it was like you've got 15 cards that are neutral cards that are in every single deck because they're that good. I'm thinking like Shattered Sun Cleric and Ardent Commander, Knife Juggler, Chillwind Yeti, Sylvanas, like all those cards in the early days of Hearthstone, like literally first set, like beta. Every deck had a Karen Bloodhorn or Bloodhoof, whatever his name is. They were in every single deck because they were neutral cards and they were really good. And then you filled out with whatever class you picked. It's like, okay, well, I'm playing a hunter deck, I'll play a little more aggressive. I'm playing a warlock deck, maybe I'll play a handlock, and maybe that's a little bit different. But yeah, I like that they're moving more towards like we're gonna have stronger cards, but they're stronger when you have the pieces to build around it. Like Solitary Monk is a strong card, but you need to, maybe Solitary Monk's not a good example, but like you get what I'm saying, where it's like they want. Yeah, Chump Wump is a strong card still, but it's not always going to be super good like it was. It's like it's a really strong card when you get value off of playing cheap spells, or you get value off of putting puff caps in the deck. Solitary Monk
if you're playing Starlit Seer.
Exactly. Who goes there? So I mean, I think these are all things that we will see as more cards come out and as they expand, but it's nice to see that they're pushing this earlier on. So I think that's all.
Yeah,
good.
I like it. And the other thing, just like not even the cards themselves, it's good to see them not being afraid to change cards mid balance patch cycle. I think that's important and like a good takeaway. Just like if there is something that does become like super degenerate and breaks the game and is an 80% win rate and 90% of the ladder, like they're not afraid to be like, all right, let me kick that back a bit.
Yeah, and it's not like you spent $15 buying your Solitary Monks and flowing them out, and then Riot bans them. Rip everyone who bought Okos. Actually, those are probably still worth a lot, but I don't know.
They're not.
The FTP of this game really gives them a lot of liberty in that way, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah, I mean, they really, from an ethical standpoint, they can change whatever cards they want, because like it's not even Hearthstone. Like it has, like they will refund you dust and whatnot when something gets changed, because there's that like.
I spent $300 each set.
Right, there's so much like. People they incentivize you to spend more money, and you're opening random hacks and all that stuff. So like ethically they should be giving you stuff back. I really don't think that they need to in LoR, because it's so simple to get cards
and like their balance philosophy is so much different, because the stuff they're nerfing is still playable. So it's not like because they changed Avaros and Hearthguard to be a 5/5 instead of 5/6. It still works in decks. Like it's still a good card, Same with Chump Wump, whatever. This card is still going to be good. Like both the cards that got changed, Pilfer Good and Monk, they're both still completely fine cards. They're not suddenly never sees play again.
Yep.
Like you're still going to be seeing some Solitary Monks.
Yep.
Yeah, and that goes back to their core principle of trying to make sure that every card has a home in a way, which is, I think, when I first read that some months ago, I was like, man, that's ambitious as hell.
Yep.
But they've been doing pretty well with it, And we'll I'm holding on hope that they stick to that, and then and it's cool because I'm a brewer too, and it's nice that every card can find a way. Like I've been liking the Rin Shadow Blade. They changed that one.
Yeah, he's cool.
That one's cool. I couldn't find it for it before. There's too much
He was
mana.
hot trash.
Yeah.
I was like, I tried for anything, but man, that one's like, yep.
Yeah, I remember thinking the same thing when they're like, yes, every card will have a home. I'm like, okay, dude, okay. But when you think about, they're not like, they don't have all this random like draft chaff in like that. There's a couple of cards like, the 2-mana 1/4s and whatnot, and the 3-mana 2/5
7/6 overwhelm. The 7/6 overwhelm too.
Yeah, Alpha Claw or whatever his name is.
Yeah, Alpha.
Dude, I got beat down by those the other day in Expedition.
Expedition All-Star.
Yeah,
he is.
Expedition All-Star.
Yeah, but like my buddy who's a Hearthstone streamer, Peach, he started playing LoR, and he was like, I mean, he's been he's played Hearthstone since the beginning, and he's asking me like, oh man, how much money am I gonna have to spend? I'm like, dude, don't spend anything. And he's like, well, should I craft these cards? Which champion should I craft first? I'm like, you can craft whatever champion you want. They're all playable in something. Like,
yeah.
And, like you don't get duplicates. He's like, I'm like constantly like blowing his mind. Like he's like, what? You don't get duplicates? What? They're all playable in something? Like what? I can actually like, I'm not going to feel terrible for crafting these cards early. It's like, yeah, no, you pretty much like, you want to have like having a full collection actually means something and is actually like good to have. Cause like it's useful.
And attainable.
Right. And it's attainable. like, right.
Yeah. I mean, just let him know I made Teemo's back before that card saw any play and had a good time.
Yeah. And it's still good. He's still playable. He's still playable.
People who think he needs a buff should not talk. That would be not okay.
What if they made him?
But he should have Scout.
What if? Yeah, he definitely should have Scout. God,
he should have Scout.
He should have Scout. Yeah. I mean, he's a Scout.
He is a Scout.
Someone was suggesting that if you buff Teemo when you play him, he should have Randy Savage's voice, Macho Man Randy Savage's voice.
Ooh, I like that a lot.
Yeah, me too.
I think they should make it to where when you play Teemo, it creates a fleeting potion of iron in your hand. Like get him the Katarina treatment.
Yeah, it just gives him the potion of iron. That would be funny. Make Teemo a 0/1 scout. That would be interesting. But that's pretty much it for the patch. There's some card clarity changes, which I'm glad that they do because I want it to be more like Magic and less like Hearthstone in the like I know what my cards are going to do when I cast them stance. And then of course there's a bunch of Expedition changes, but we are as usual not going to go over those. One last thing to note is that the vault is now moving from Tuesdays to Thursdays.
Yep.
So, and apparently they're doing a mini vault like between now, which is Wednesday, and tomorrow, which is Thursday. And then they'll do the weekly vault cadence like they did, but it's moved to Thursday. So if you're wondering why you're getting your vault again, that is why. But
yeah. Or if you're trying to open it on Tuesday furiously, and before you message all of us, why the hell is my vault not working, damn Rito?
Why is my vault not working? I need to know. Well, we're gonna point you to this clip right here. But that is pretty much it for the patch, and I think that's gonna push us to the end of the show. Nola, thank you so much for coming on, bud.
We made it, fam.
We made it. Sell out, shout out, anything that you want to talk about. What are you doing? How can people find you?
You can find me on YouTube and Twitch, both underneath Nolagold. And you can check me out on Twitter. I post all my content on Twitter as well at Jody MF Keith. And you can also join the IQ Team Discord. They have events over there. I'm part of the team, GGIQ Discord. I don't have the link for that right now, but it's out there.
It's out there. You can find it.
On my stream, if you type in twitch.tv/Nolagold and the commands IQ. So
Cool.
And if you want to see any of my memes, check it out on the Reddit. I post memes every day. So
I saw a meme from Player, and it was
that was the best meme. We can't beat that one.
It's so good.
Yeah,
Card, I
meme
love
of our
Card.
generation.
But Card is too strong. I saw a streamer play Card against streamer B. Card was pivotal in beating streamer. And then the retort was, "Hi, I'm player 1 rank higher than you. You don't know how to play around Card. If you use Card B instead to play, if you tech out your deck with Card that beats Card, you could simply use your brain to beat this. I know this because I'm 1 rank higher than you."
Yeah,
so good.
exactly. It is, and that's exactly how it goes, and
Yeah.
it's perfect and the best.
Yeah, I felt personally attacked, but also it was correct. Saucy, where can people find you on the internet when you're not here?
Yeah, my website is just saucymailman.com. That's where all my links and stuff are at. On YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, I'm just Saucy Mailman. You'll find me playing a lot of Starlit Seers because that seems to be all I can play right now. A lot of Teemos and Starlit Seers lately. So
yes, you can find me and Saucy and actually Nola as well in the Runeterrable Discord, discord.me/Runeterrable Radio. If you haven't joined that already, really great place. We've got a lot of different community members in there, all sorts of varying levels of competition and competitiveness. Mostly people just there to have a good time and help each other out and all that stuff. So make sure you join that. Again, discord.me/Runeterrable Radio. You can find me on the internet on Twitter at @the_Blevins or twitch.tv/theblevins, which is where we stream the show on Wednesdays, usually at 8 Eastern. But you can find all that in the Discord. You can follow the show on Twitter at Runeterrable on Twitter. Go to runeterrable.com or DeckPics.Live. Yes, that we do own DeckPics.Live. Send us your deck picks, please.
Send us all your deck picks.
Yes. Okay, but that is going to be it for this episode. Again, Nolagold, thank you so much for coming on. For Nola, for Saucy, I'm the Blevins, and we'll be back next week to talk about some more Legends of Runeterra.